some noise out of Atlanta. It's Shelley Gruenberg.
It's true. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get up here and immediately start talking crap about my ex-boyfriend. Not me, no. I'll probably tell like one joke first. So, I used to think the term grisly murder meant that a bear committed the crime. My ex-boyfriend was an incredibly mysterious man. For example, he claimed to be afraid of commitment, but then wanted to be called daddy. What's the deal? You can't handle flowers on Valentine's Day. How are you supposed to handle the trials and tribulations of being my father? I guess what I'm saying is don't try to choke me unless you're also trying to pay for my car insurance. Women in finance. I don't mind being choked though, am I right, ladies? Okay, blink if you need help. Another mystery. He found this really beautiful way of being the brokest person I've ever met. And the most concerned about gold diggers. Yeah, me and all my gal pals are just lined up around the block for that Panera paycheck. How about, instead of worrying about, and this is a direct quote from him, bitches stealing your bread, you worry about just hollowing it out, filling it with soup. Ooh, I see we're familiar with the cuisine. Very cool. We had a very progressive relationship, though. It was an open relationship, which is so cool. Less cool when it's a surprise. It was open on one end, like a cup or a bowl. He cheated on me with 4 people. Boo! That's too many. That's the Beatles. That's 1/3 of Jesus' entire group of friends. It was a math one. Women in STEM. But none of that was the deal breaker. The deal breaker was he said he wasn't attracted to me anymore. Boo! Boo! I'll tell him you said that. He didn't even have the courage to say it either. He just took me to an Arby's. An Arby's. That's not where they take a woman they're sexually attracted to. That's where they take a 16-year-old labradoodle for just one last pile of beef before you euthanize her. And he didn't even have the courage to euthanize me. But, you know, I've moved on. I'm an incredibly fancy and cosmopolitan woman. My primary care physician thinks I'm a very fancy woman. It's true. The other day she asked me if I travel internationally. I was like, no, I'm no Rockefeller, but thank you for thinking that. Hey, bonjour. And then she informed me that I had parasites in my shit that are usually only found in developing countries. Oopsie boopsie, right? And that's the story of why all of the nurses at my doctor's office call me Mrs. Worldwide. Anyway, speaking of invasive parasites, have y'all ever burped and then your mouth tastes like a Plan B? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be relatable. It sounds like I'm bragging. I'm not getting crazy. I sit on a lot of toilet seats and I do get nervous. So I just take one every single day like it's a multivitamin. Much like a multivitamin, I found out it's not doing anything at all. I'm serious. Did you know if you're over 175 pounds, Plan B is completely ineffective? So even if you hate the jokes, you learn something. I understand that some of you fellas need to step out, make some phone calls. I was ranting about this to a skinny friend, so an enemy. I was ranting about this to an enemy. And she said, Shelley, she's freezing. She said, Shelley, why don't they make another Plan B for bigger girls? Maybe because if I had to look the cashier in the eyeballs and purchase a jumbo Plan B, I think I'll keep it. Anywho, can I get vulnerable with you guys? Yeah? I feel very safe. I cried on the way here. And not just because I dropped one of my overall straps directly into the toilet, but because I spilled an entire Shasta Cola directly into my handbag. Do we know what Shasta Cola is? I see some not. You're shaking your head no? Okay, enjoy the Hamptons, Mrs. Rockefeller. It's the Dollar Tree soda. So I'm weeping on the street openly, and this guy comes up to me, and in this really beautiful moment of like kindness and human connection, he looks at me and says, "Hey, blonde-headed, big booty ass bitch, are you all right?" And that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. That's the story of the one that got away. And narrowly, because I chased him for the next 4 city blocks, like, what are we? Slow down, Daddy, car insurance is due. But he disappeared into the night. Because I'm not very fast and I have asthma. Little did I know love was right around the corner, baby. I found love later that day. I was in my favorite restaurant, the hot dog roller at the gas station next to my house. And this guy comes up behind me while I'm loading my dog up with all the fixins, mustard, onion, chili. He says, "Oh, I'm weeping." And I turn to him. And he says, "Looking like a hot dog kind of night for ya." And I realize in that beautiful moment, he and I have something in common. We're both trying to bury our wiener in something sad and gross. And we both succeeded! Oh, stop. So now he's my boyfriend. And he's wonderful. He's got a poet's soul and a large but still approachable penis. A real penis you can have a beer with. And he's a singer-songwriter. And he always says, "My songs aren't personal, don't take them personally, they're anecdotes about my life." But then I'll hear the song, and it'll be like, "Round-faced woman drunkenly ate all the shredded cheese. Little rat girl tried to hide the bag in the couch, but I found it. Quit trying to peg me." And he's like, "That's about no one in particular." But, you know, I'm celebrating a birthday, you know that, right? I turned 20 recently. Recently! Several years ago. And the hard part about turning 20 is that in Investment bankers in their 40s just don't want to hang out anymore. They say, go buy your own Smirnoff Ice, you withered crone. Ooh, come back, Craig. I'm still supple and easy to trick. I am easy to trick. I once watched the film Look Who's Talking on mushrooms, and I was pro-life for 6 months. Something compelling about that talking baby. But, you know, things like that always remind me why women's pants pockets are so impractically small. Am I right, ladies? Because if they weren't, we'd fill them with stones and walk right into the ocean. That's why whenever a lady finds a dress, she's like, oh my God, it has pockets! I can finally kill myself! Guys, I have exciting news. I'm not just a stand-up comedian, entrepreneur, genius. I'm also a singer-songwriter. And I wrote some songs for you. Tonight. I just need a starting pitch from the audience. Can I get like a... Thank you. I'm gonna need that periodically throughout my song. One time, when I was 11, I wanted a pair of moon shoes for Christmas. That's a pair of trampoline-powered shoes that can allegedly take you from here to the moon. My mother did not research the weight capacity of these shoes before purchasing them. So I strapped them to my feet, jumped once, and then threw the trampoline-powered shoes, immediately spraining both of my ankles. And to make sure I received a Jenny Craig cookbook and a shake away. Thank you, I wrote that. Many songs about my mother. She's an incredibly compelling woman. For example, she once told me if I watched porn, the actors in the film could see me and would call the police. Next song. Child, I learned that Osama bin Laden was buried at sea. So I developed a deep and pathological fear of the ocean. And every time something touched my foot, I thought it was his beard. Spotify, as many of you ought to. You can find it under the name Reba McEntire. I'm going to leave you with one final thought. It's nasty, but it's also profound. I think they call sucking dick giving brain, because when you're down there, you do be thinking. I'm down there like, what was my social security number? Is one's identity something that's innate and fixed, or Is it more a culmination of all of one's experiences? Why do I have so much time to think down here? Is this the first time I've ever shut the fuck up? And it was. Thank you, I'm Shelley.